What is going on, everybody? Before we get started, is there a poll over there, or did it roll off somehow? Welcome to our Q&A on Thursday nights. I almost said our podcast again. I always do that. This is where you come and you ask questions, and we answer them all about guitar stuff until 9 o'clock, and then we do some off-topic stuff. And yeah, it's going to be kind of cool. I don't see a poll. I feel like I did it beforehand, and I feel like maybe it goes away after a while. I'm not really sure. Yes, there's a poll. Okay, cool. Thank you. I just can't see it on my phone. So, then we do some off-topic stuff. All right.
It's because it's you.
Oh, it might be because it's me. I might not be able to see my own question.
You can't vote on your own stuff.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to talk about Do You Like This Mod? This is a very interesting crowdsourcing, excellent. Answer the question, and then we should be able to see what the running percentage is.
Oh.
And so I would like to keep that going. Okay, so thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. We do this every Thursday. It's super fun. These are all ad-free live streams. So there's a couple of really interesting things tonight that we're going to talk about. So in regard to that. So first of all, if you want to support the channel, you support this particular live stream, you can do that by using a super chat and asking a question. You can always ask questions anyway. Just put a bunch of question marks in front of there. She'll try to find it and we'll talk about it. Tonight's going to be more you than it is me because I don't have a whole lot, but I just wanted to tell you about some really neat things. Also, another way to support the channel is go to dylantalkstone.com and you can buy pickups. That's what we do. We make pickups, which is what we're going to talk about in a minute. And do you want to stop and get that one now?
Super chat from Dastardly Dave. Thanks for the super chat, Dave. He said ad free is cool.
Thank you so much. I was actually...
Don't start talking yet.
Oh.
Super chat from Hans Moselle. Thank you for the super chat, Hans. He said Dave is cooler.
Thanks, Hans. I appreciate that very much. I was just actually over super chatting on Texas Toast. I'm like, you know what? It's one of those pay it forward things. It's kind of fun. And then the other thing you can do to support the channel is you can use the links in the description. And we don't have sponsors. So I was telling Leslie this today. We don't have sponsorships, but what I am going to do from now on our live streams is I'm just going to look through there and see if there's anything that I think some of our affiliate links and stuff that you would find useful. And this week, there really, really is. So if you go down to the description and you use the StuMac link, you can go to StuMac and they have a tool sale going on right now. And my 3 favorite things on their website are 20 to 26% off, which is substantial. They have their Z file, which I love that thing. And I use it on every fret thing ever.
Super chat from Tazzy Tim. Thanks for the super chat, Tim. He said ad free for me.
Thank you for the upside down super chat, Tazzy Tim. And then the next thing is their fret files, because I love their fret files because they work super awesome. And then the last thing is the ever so controversial but amazing nut height gauge, the digital nut height gauge. So I think that thing's like 26% off. So anyway, go in the link below, StuMac, check it out. Maybe next week we'll find something else that's useful down there that you might find interesting. That's the way I'm going to handle sponsorships from now on. So, yeah. Okay, so what I want to talk about tonight before we get into our Patreon questions so that you guys can be thinking about it is when I was in Nashville at the guitar show, a very good customer of mine said, if you could do it, would you be able to do it? Would you do this for me? And I was actually just listening to Texas Toast Guitars, and they were talking about, when somebody comes to you with a weird idea, how much work is it to implement it? So when somebody says, can you make this pickup or that pickup? It's a lot of work. It costs a lot of money. Takes a lot of time. even making little adjustments, changing magnet sizes, changing, little things. It takes a lot of time. And we have really cool tools, laser and all that. And we can do some neat stuff, but it still takes a lot of time. And so, anyway, the thing that he gave me an idea to do, I made a prototype of today. And this, you're like, well, I've seen clear pickups from you before. And yes, you have. But this is a Strat pickup. You've never seen an acrylic topped Stratocaster pickup from Dylan Talks Tone ever. I've never done it. And I don't think anybody has ever done it. I know you can get some made in China plastic bobbins that are wild, but this is actually the top of the bobbin. This is a legit Hot 5. This is a legit pickup. This is like one of our pickups, but it has a acrylic top on it. My question to you is, and I'd like you to answer this in the poll. The way we can do these is by making an acrylic top and then wrapping the outside of the pickup, but it will not have a cover. Okay? Because I do not currently have available to me, and I talked to my hardware guy in Nashville, and the reason is because there's a brand that has the trademark on this. This is why you can't get topless surrounds for pickups, for Strat pickups. So what we're going to do is we are going to probably wrap these in either, depending on the pickup, black, or we're going to wrap them in back in the old days. If you guys followed me for 10 years, you'll remember that I used to make pickups sort of like this, where we would wrap the outside with colored hemp. So it would look like a vintage Telecaster pickup. But that's what we would do. And I used to do this on Telecasters. We used to make Telecaster neck pickups, and we used to wrap them in hemp around the outside. But I did not around the outside. But I never did a clear one like that. So.
You mean Strat?
Strat. Never did a Strat one like that. Not only can we do clear, but if you think about all of the other materials that we have available to us, now we could do some really neat stuff. If you're okay not having a plastic cover, it will still be protected. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. I will make sure of that. But if you're okay with having the side of it kind of show through the pick guard like that with whatever we wrap it in, then we can do really custom stuff. We can do custom Stratocaster pickup tops, just like our other stuff that you've seen, only in Strat stuff. We could also do where we cut the top, this piece of acrylic out of the same piece of acrylic. So you buy a purple swirl pick guard, and then we cut this out so that it matches and the pattern flows all the way through. Like, how cool is that? So it will take some tooling up to do, but this is the very first one. If this is something you think you would like, and that you would be okay with that design, tell me. I've never crowdsourced a product like this before. And so it's something that I've been thinking about because of all this neat stuff that we do, kind of crowdsourcing it a little bit. I put it on Patreon earlier today, and they were like, heck yeah, we're all in. So I wanted to get the greater community's idea on it. If you're watching this after, or you're listening to this in a podcast, because you might be listening to this in audio later, just leave a comment below and tell me yes or no if this is something that you think you'd be into. And also ideas. Obviously, concepts and ideas. I'm not saying that just because you comment it, I will be able to pull it off, but that's how we feed this whole machine. And so I would appreciate your input on it. So anyway, super neat stuff. And so I would like to kind of
before you move
put that out to y'all.
Benny's World said, colored hemp looks really good, but would that fit a normal pick guard?
Yes, because I'm going to make it, there will be a couple of limitations to it. We will be able to do it with certain pickups. There's a couple of pickups that I won't be able to do that with, but it will fit. I have tested it in the past with Tele stuff, and I know that it will fit as long as, let me just say, I know what the tolerance is right here, and there will be some more testing to do, but this is actually smaller. This actually is the same exact size as the bobbin. This is not the same size as the top of a pickup cover. So if I make this the top of the pickup cover size,
You have more room.
I have more room, which I just
Smart.
now thought of.
Yep. It's a different size.
Which I just now thought of. See, this is why we have to do this, and we have to go through these ideas. And, you know, if you were over on Texas Toast stream earlier, this is exactly why this stuff takes time. And, you know, I burned through a bunch of material just to get here. I'll give you a kind of little insight to that. Every time you make a piece of flat work, the hole that is in the piece of flat work, and this could apply to a regular Telecaster pickup, a regular Enduro, a regular Stratocaster pickup, the magnets, first of all, are not actually what they say they are. So if they're 187, they might be 185. Okay, 185 thousandths instead of 187 thousandths. In order for the bobbin to grip this, the hole actually needs to be a few thousandths smaller. Now, knowing that my laser has an 8 thousandths kerf, I have to do all that math and figure all that out. So if I just took a regular fiber, but now this material is stiffer, more brittle. So now my hole size for a regular paper bobbin, a regular 4-bond bobbin, is not the same hole size as this hole size. So I had to go through a whole bunch. I broke a bunch of these today because I don't want to make it too loose. So I'm going up a couple thousandths, cut another one, go up a couple thousandths, cut another one, and see like what is the grip tolerance of this particular material. And that means that I'll have to do that with all the materials as we go through. So there's going to be a bunch of figuring with this, but and then I have to figure out another jig to do this, because you can't just, with the paper ones, you can just press them down. Well, it has to be pressed down 100% perfectly flat, because if it tilts just a little bit, it cracks. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch that goes into this. It's fun and I enjoy it, but it's fun. So anyway, just a little inside on what we got going. So with that, let's get into the Patreon questions, and then you could ask a bunch of guitar questions tonight, because we don't really have a whole long subject besides that.
Garner. Hello. As always, thank you so much for your time and energy. How much of a difference does magnet material actually make? Does it show up on an oscilloscope reading?
Yes, it absolutely does. Because, so what is the easiest way to say this? So, without getting really into the weeds, you might think that the only difference would be, well, it's a stronger magnet, so it's more. But what really happens is a stronger magnet, the shape of the magnetic field changes. And so what happens is the magnetic field grows above and below, and it grows this way too, like width-wise. And so the inductance then happens stronger or weaker in different parts of the coil, if that makes sense. And, you know, because it weakens as it goes out. So it makes a big difference. It's hard to, without getting really nerdy, that's the biggest thing, is that it's not just the strength, but it's also the shape. And yes, it will show up on an oscilloscope. But basically, anytime you make a change like that, it moves the resonant peak of the pickup, which is what you would see on an oscilloscope, and changes the sound. And so then you can adjust by saying, okay, well, I want, different gauge wire. I want a few less winds, a few more winds. I want the coil to be shorter or taller, to change the proportion of that coil, fatter and skinnier, and, all kind of stuff. It's a constantly moving target.
Zoltan. It's been a while. Hey,
Zoltan.
Leslie and Dylan. What can cause a good old last century crybaby wah pedal to go nuts? All of a sudden, it goes on and off, loud, quiet, shrill, muffled, completely erratic. I took it apart but can't spot the issue. Is it worth repairing or should I just replace it?
So two things usually go wrong with a wah. Either the inductor goes bad, which is a little coil in there with 4 pins on the bottom. So if you look in your wah, there's going to be a little round cylinder. And depending on which wah you have, there's like a red phasal, there's a yellow phasal, there's a green phasal, it'll be like a little cylinder and it'll have like a red plastic cover on it or a green or a yellow. It depends on, or a black or a white. Depends on what wah it is. Once you understand the color of that, then you can Google green phasal, red phasal, white phasal, and find out what the resistance of that coil is supposed to be. It's very low. And you can measure that and make sure that that inductor is still good. If it's not, they can be replaced and they're not that expensive. They're probably, we used to buy them all the time because I was building those wahs. $15 maybe, $25, something like that. I don't know. That was a long time ago. And you're in Europe too, so I don't know what's available over there. And I don't know how available they are. There used to be a really cool electronics company here that we could get that crazy stuff from, and they went out of business. It was called pedalbuilders.com or something. And we used to be able to get all kind of stuff like that. The other thing that goes bad in them is the pot. And the pot is a specific, I think it's a 250K pot, but the taper is really specific. You can't just put a volume from a guitar in there. Those are the two main components that go bad. And so that's where I would send you first.
'67 Goat. Gibson necks have wider nuts, wider string spacing at the nut end, and a flatter radius like acoustics have. So why do I feel like I have all the space in the world on a Fender neck except 7 1/4? Those also feel cramped to me, but my fretting fingers seem like they are running over themselves on a Gibson neck.
Fret size. That would be my first guess. I would think that you're touching more of the neck on a Gibson because usually the frets are smaller. Also, the neck profile is usually thicker, which changes how your fingers wrap around the neck. So it just completely changes the way you approach the fretboard. Fret size is a big one, though, because, medium jumbos or mediums like 6150s, 6505s, 6105s are taller and wider on a Fender than the usual ones that are on a Gibson, for example. Yeah, like I'm just sitting here looking at the couple guitars I have, and that would be my very first thing I would think of. Interesting question.
All right. That was all that came in early.
Awesome.
Where do we go from here?
I would like to know what that says.
Currently 68% yes and 32% no.
Okay.
What was Patreon?
Oh, everybody wanted it.
Oh.
Yeah. But I kind of figured that would be over there.
38 votes.
Okay. Well, if you guys are watching tonight, I would really appreciate it. I know it looks like we have 60 or 80 people on right now. If you would all vote on that, I would appreciate that. Even if you don't comment or anything, just vote. And I don't get your email or anything. Don't worry. It's just YouTube thing. I don't know. Maybe YouTube gets in your brain when you vote on a poll. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I guess let's just start going through questions and comments then.
All right. I feel like I missed that one. My bad.
Uh-oh.
I apologize. Super chat from Van Shank Guitars. Thank you, Ivan. I apologize for missing that while he was talking. He says no ads.
Thanks, sir.
Robbie F says, I love the look of the see-through pickups. I will definitely go for the acrylic bobbin top for my next set of single coils.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they're fun. We can do all kinds of stuff too. I was looking through acrylics.
Super chat from Kyle Ketchamonia. Thank you for the super chat, Kyle. He said, my Dylan pickups are in Canada now, but I don't think I made it. LOL. Damn strike. But my Gretsch lap still came in today, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, so apparently Canadian Post is on strike again.
So it's just going to sit somewhere? Because you can't.
There's nothing nothing I can do about it now. And the other thing that happened is, speaking of acrylics, one of my big acrylic dealers is in Canada.
And they're like, nope.
Yep. And I got an email and they're like, we have to shut down all American sales until I think it's going to be like August. So they're literally going to put in a warehouse in America so that they can sell again. But I've been using, I've got 2 other acrylics dealers that I use to get all my stuff. So it just changes the color combination, available color combinations a little bit. And honestly, I've been using this other place for a few months anyway, so y'all probably won't be able to tell the difference.
Y'all. All right. Nella Yema? I don't know. How much do magnets lose their magnetism over time? Does it make a significant difference in sound?
No, they don't. That's a that's a very widely held myth, but actually, the majority of the strength that a Alnico magnet loses over its lifetime is in the first couple of days. So when you get your guitar, like for example, when I make you a set of pickups and you get them, by the time you get them, the majority of what they will decay over the next 100 years has already happened. So that whole idea that weaker magnets, blah, 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 over time. Now you can damage them, but for the most part, it's not something you have to worry about.
45 votes, 71-29. So it's staying very consistent.
Yeah. Cool.
Now,
if you vote, you have to buy a set when I make. I'm just kidding.
Super chat from Tazzy Tim. Thank you for the super chat, Tim. He said, I was wrong. My Dylan pickups are still at JFK.
Oh, man.
Still a long way to go.
Dude, international shipping is a constant fight. It is a constant fight. I actually have somebody in the United States right now. Like, where's my stuff? And we have a problem with the Atlanta distribution center. And it, outgoing and incoming, right? We'll order stuff. And there's this little circle that our mail, like I'll order a package. And our mail, I'll order something from Mojotone, which is in North Carolina, which is literally 2 states over from us. And it will go to like Memphis and then Nashville and then Atlanta and then Palmetto, Georgia, then back to Atlanta, then back to Palmetto. Like it'll go all over the place to get to me. And there's a couple of places in Georgia that are just sort of a pain. There's nothing I can do about it either. And the folks that call, they'll say, it's been sitting there a week. What can we do about it? And I'm like, man, I can't do anything about it. Like, because I know, like, let's say I make you another set of pickups and send them out. A, the second set might have the same thing happen. And B, the very next day, those will show up at your house. It's just a weird thing.
All right. T-Bone. Good evening, Dylan and Leslie. Dylan, it seems Fender's pricing is out of whack. Some recent sales events, the Player 2 is $679 and the Standard is $599. for $79 is 3 times the guitar.
Now, I mean, I disagree about 3 times the guitar. I think that's exactly what they're going for. So first of all, the Player 2 doesn't always cost that much, right? It was on sale. I think it's an $800 guitar. And it's not 3 times the guitar. They're kind of about the same. The only thing is country of origin, and the material's obviously going to be a little bit different. I think what you could get really into the weeds on this, and I know that there's a lot of that perspective comes from a country of origin conversation, but really the $600 guitar and the $800 guitar is really a feature set difference. It's not a quality difference. So now the jump up in features might be significant on some models because of the country of origin, meaning you could put way more features on a guitar that's made in Asia than you could put on a guitar that's made in Mexico for the same amount of money. Especially now. Yeah. So I think that's a misconception. You know, everybody wants to assign like all the guitars from Asia are cheap and they should cost this much, and all the guitars but right now all bets are off. First of all, second of all, the way Fender markets their instruments, each of those guitars is built to a price point. It is not a quality thing as much as it is a price point thing. Price point to features. Now, when you jump from Asia to North America, there will be a difference in metallurgy. There will be a difference in frets. There will be a difference in wood selection, like all that kind of stuff. But at that price point, when we're talking about a functional instrument that looks good, feels good, and plays good, they're all going to do that. They're all going to do that.
You have timers on lights? I mean, lights on timers?
That goes out at sunset. Because I forget to shut it off all the time.
You should put a timer on that thing.
On the bowl?
Mm-hmm. I have a plug.
I have a plug too. Should have put a timer on the dog.
I don't think it would work.
I don't think it would work either.
Martian Murray. Could you show the shape of the magnetic field of a pickup with some paper and iron fillings? I think I remember that school experiment.
Yeah, I actually bought some, I forget what it's called, but it's Mylar with magnetic fibers laminated to one side of it. I still have it in the drawer in there. But it was really hard to photograph, but I also didn't have my photography skills back then that I have now. I might be able to show that. It's pretty interesting. I got the idea from Marquez Brownlee because he got this sheet to show where the magnets were in an iPad. Because you could put it up against an iPad and it would like suck the fibers in this Mylar sheet to show where the magnets were. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what that would look like with a guitar pickup. It's pretty neat.
Phil Sekira. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think he's the JP Ma guy.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of the Z files do you prefer? The original, center, or mini?
Original. And I got your message and I'm getting you sorted tomorrow, I think.
Matthew Altamir said, I mean, it's just the same tape on the outside as uncovered humbuckers, right?
Correct.
67 Goat. Have you had a chance to play a Corey Wong Strat? Just picked up one new for a third off. Ultra neck, smaller body. I love it.
Yeah, I think they're really neat. My only complaint was the finish. I didn't like the finish on it. But it's a neat guitar, and it is weird. It feel whatever that like small percentage of size down was wild. Yeah, it's a cool guitar though. Those pickups are interesting too. They're definitely specific, but that's cool. It sounds good. It's a cool guitar.
Chicken Waller Farm said, so just to clarify, when I asked about magnet material, I meant a magnet of the same size and strength, but made of different material. Ceramic versus iron, nickel, cobalt versus neodymium, iron, boron.
Ditto to everything I already said. Because, yes. Because if you take a ceramic magnet and compare it to an Alnico one that's exactly the same size, all the same things apply. All the same things apply. It's just a specific strength. It's a specific measurement of gauss, really, an intensity of gauss at a particular distance away from it. But it all applies the same, more or less.
Hans Moselle said, yesterday I ordered 2 more shirts from Wario Camo in Arizona, and they'll be here tomorrow in Wisconsin.
Awesome.
So he's not having shipping problems. He's got a shopping addiction.
Yeah,
right now,
apparently he's going to buy all the collect all the colors like I did.
Yeah.
There's a new one out right now, but I got a new fountain pen yesterday, so I was holding off on.
Butch Landry. I have only made Telecaster guitars. I don't want to skew your poll, but I'm still interested in options you might create for Telecaster pickups.
Dude, I could do everything that I can do for the Strat. I can do. Go to the website and look. We can do tons of Telecaster stuff already. We're already doing it. I just sold today a translucent green with sparkles in it Telecaster set. So the top of the bobbin is like a translucent. You can see the color through it, but it's like a green sparkle. Neck and bridge.
Wait, Telecaster. Not since
Telecaster.
you posted that.
No. This is not for sale yet because
Gotcha.
this still needs some
Wait,
tweaking.
what?
Yep.
Dylan Dockers. Hey, unrelated. When will you be doing wide range humbucker rewinds again?
Never ever.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is a pain in the butt.
Does John do those?
Mm-mm.
No. All right, never mind. Dog Dr. Tim said, I have a single Strat style guitar with a nice deep metallic green with mint pearl pickguard. I would love pickup tops to match the body color on that mint pickguard. Can you come close to matching a pick of the body?
Yeah, send me a picture. And then I'll send you back the materials that I have available and we'll come up with something.
And with that, at 8:33,
no more questions.
I got nothing.
Dang. I didn't talk enough.
Debatable.
Trying to think what else I got going this week.
What else you got going?
We've been making a bunch of pickups, that is for sure. I thought I got caught up today.
Yeah.
And then and here we go again.
It's awesome.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we want. Like I always want something to do. And so it's good. It was good. I was thinking about it today, man. Man, it's been a long time since I've been this caught up. Like, and it's not necessarily that we're slow. I just think what happens sometimes is, well, we've been selling the same thing. We've been selling tons of DAFs. I've only sold like 6 P90s this week, which is not that many. And so what happens is, so let's say we sell, let's say today, we sell 4 or 5 P90s and we sell 2 or 3 DAFs and we sell 3 or, a couple center punches and a set of tele stuff today. That's a whole bunch of different things. I want to do a video. Actually, I'm going to do a video. I'm trying to figure out how to shoot it, where I'd like to do this video where it's basically like, the title of the video would be sort of clickbaity, like why are pickups so expensive or something. But I would like to show as best as possible, like a day in the life of everything but the actual winding. Because the actual winding, okay, I'm just going to tell you, it's 1,000 winds a minute. And if you have 10,000 winds on a P90, it's 10 minutes. That's how long it takes on the machine, right? Like, so that makes sense. But all of the other stuff that goes into making a pickup, I was thinking about it because of the, what people like the cost that people they assign or they think. So like we're just talking about this Asian guitar versus Mexican guitar thing. They'll assign a value to a pile of parts or to a country of origin or whatever and not really understand what goes into it. Or they'll ask for a modification and not really understand what goes into it. And I was like, how can I quantify that for people to show, like, in this day, this is how much like farting around, not on the winder, I do to make a thing, because it's a lot of time and very tedious. I think when we do these pickup winding courses and people come and learn to wind, that's what they say. They're like, well, the winding's the easy part, actually. Like once you learn it, but like, I can't tell you how many people will wind a coil and then hand it to me and be like, can you get that wire through that little eyelet? Because I can't even see it, or I can't do it, or my hands shake too much, or I don't have the coordination. Like,
yeah. And we don't let people do that little, is that what that piece is?
The eyelet. We don't let people press their own eyelets in. We don't, because it has to be done a certain way. Otherwise they pop out. Like, wax potting takes a long time because there's nothing you can do but wait for it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like watching paint dry. Literally, you're sitting there watching the wax get hot. Even cutting, like if I'm cutting a lot of flat work on the laser, I can't just walk away from it because it's a fire hazard. Like literally it could burn my garage down. So I have to be, because you're burning something. So there's like all these things that I think people don't, soldering the little wires on the ends of humbuckers and then taping up the bobbins individually. And like, it takes me a half hour to make a pickup sometimes, like just that, So then you go, okay, well, if this pickup is $100 or whatever it costs, minus the parts, we're just talking about sitting here for 45 minutes. And then having a day where you have 2 of this kind, 3 of this kind, and 4 of that kind, where you're like trying to batch it together to be as productive as possible, but not really, because building a bunch of P90s at once is pretty productive. But when you have to make these 2 and then switch to humbuckers and then switch to tele stuff, it's just a whole thing.
So what are all those sheets in there for? Like, I thought you were batch working now.
We are. But, honestly, being caught up makes that harder because, for example, let's say if I completely catch up on all my orders and there's nothing pending, it's what happened today. And then we had 3 of these, 4 of those, and 2 of those.
So you're not ahead anymore.
I'm not ahead because it's hard to stay ahead. It's hard to stay ahead. What's really hard with staying ahead is inventory management, because the problem is that you don't want to. Okay, so, and this is so nerdy, you guys, but just to give you an idea. So, okay, the magnets, for example, the magnets that come in this pickup are also used in Telecaster pickups. They're also used in Enduros. So let's say, now I have thousands of them, but let's say we have products that, we do have some products that are more limited in their quantity that we keep in stock. Okay. So let's say we have 20 of something and they can be used for 3 different products. And then we sell 20 of one product, 19 of one product, and then 1 for this. But I already made 20 of these and I ran out and it screws up your proportions of everything because there's so many crossover things. So it's, and for example, it's not a good idea. In fact, I learned this. I was talking to the guys from Throwback Pickups when I was in California. They're like, we don't make tons and tons of flat work at a time because it kind of goes bad. Like it gets moisture in it or it, and he's like, and, like cut your big sheets down to little sheets. And like, he was giving me all these pointers to make your flat work last longer. Because if I cut 200 Strat pickup flat works and throw them in the bench in there, and we go through them in, let's say, a month, because I don't sell that many Strat pickups in comparison to other stuff. So let's say we go through 200 of them, and it'll probably take me 2 months to go through 200 of them. By the time I get to end of 2 months, some of them might be a little bit weird because they're paper.
So why do they not do that in your pickup?
Well, because it's all put together and then it's wax potted and it's all like together. The tension keeps everything how it's supposed to. But I've had to throw away inventory. Like when I buy lots of inventory from other people, I've had to throw away a bunch of it because it does that from sitting for too long, Yeah, there's just all kinds of things where you're like, okay, you have to manage every day a little different. Yeah, it's just an interesting I was thinking about it today, like what goes into this. And I was watching this other video about this, $900 pocket knife and talking about how many hours it takes to make this one part to go into this $900 pocket knife. And I'm like, man, that is so cool. I find it so fascinating. I started thinking about my own stuff and like, oh, I actually do spend a lot of time on this or this or this,
Super chat from Kyle Ketchamonia. Thanks for the super chat, Kyle. He said, for my casino, if the strings don't line up with the magnets on the pickups, what will it do? I'm interested.
If it sounds good, leave it alone. Casinos especially are weird because they have that like 48.9 millimeter spacing or whatever. And our stuff is 50. So it should be okay. If you have weird spots, let me know. But it should be okay.
Ibg says, why didn't wide range humbuckers catch on? Did the tone just not impress?
Well, so Seth Lever designed those at Fender, right? And they were supposed to be he didn't want them to be the same as Gibson humbuckers. And I think it's a classic example of, there's 2 things. One is the parts just became unobtainium. Kunifei magnets are almost unobtainium. I can get them now, but they're really expensive and it's just not worth doing. For me. But the other thing is he was trying to make a pickup sound more single coily, more Fendery. And the bottom line is Fenders are supposed to be Fenders and Gibsons are supposed to be Gibsons when it comes down to how the market looks at them. Chris and Matt talk about that all the time, like that Fender's biggest competitor is old Fenders, right? They just need to make Fenders. And everybody says, we should come up with a new idea. Well, I wish Gibson would come up with a new idea. No, you don't. Gibson needs to make Gibson stuff. Fender needs to make Fender stuff. They need to keep doing it. And that was a crossover idea that didn't really work. And then the parts became unobtainium and they just kind of went away.
Hans Moselle said, I'll send you a PM through the DTT website and put you to work.
Sounds good to me.
Dylan Docker says, if you aren't doing rewinds anymore, what wide range pickups do you recommend? I don't care if they aren't Kunifei or whatever. Which ones do you think just sound good and aren't muddy like the reissues?
Lawler. Get the Lawler ones. You will pay for them. They are not cheap, but they are the bomb.
Chicken Waller Farm, why don't you make a Filtertron style pickup or a standard, not a Firebird mini humbucker?
Cost of parts. First of all, we wouldn't sell so it's really it's a sales to cost of parts ratio. Filtertrons are just really expensive to make. For me to make them, they would cost $225 a piece. Just that's how much they would cost. They're really expensive. The hardware is really expensive. To not get Chinese garbage. Like I could get hardware that would work, but I wouldn't want to sell it. But the only place that I trust to make that stuff is made in USA stuff. It ain't cheap, and it's expensive in the end for you. The only reason somebody like TV Jones could do it is because he's gone, or somebody like I don't know, Curtis Novak. Those guys put a lot of money into tooling. So this is something to think about. This is another thing when we're talking about costs and stuff, is because I've talked to Curtis about this. He spends an ungodly amount of money for tooling. So all those neat, when you go to curtisnovak.com and you see all those neat pickups that he has, like all those very cool, like, I don't know, really one-offy kind of stuff, that is not Chinese hardware that he gets and then puts together. He has every bit of that hardware made because he wants American-made, really high-quality stuff. So he invests in that, and he invests in the fact that he makes weird stuff. And so he can do that because he's got his business structured that way. Same thing with TV Jones. He has his business structured to make those pickups. So therefore, that's pretty much all he does, but that's what he's tooled up to do. We have not been that way. We've been very, our thing has always been the new vintage. It's always been modern parts to make vintage sound. That's always been my thing until recently. And so that's why I've sort of leaned into the laser shop, because I'm like, no, I think I want to make really neat stuff, but this is the way I can do it. I can't do the Curtis Novak stuff. I can't do the TV Jones stuff. I can't do all these crazy hardware stuff, but the stuff I can do is this, like this kind of stuff. And this is why I'm leaning into it. If those guys specialize in those things and are kind of known for those things, then over time, besides the new vintage stuff that we do, I would like to start to be known for this other stuff too, to make your guitar cooler than everybody else's in a way.
Super chat from Kyle Ketchamonia. Thanks for the super chat, Kyle. He said, my Curtis Novak humbucker sized wide range is serving me well. I can vouch. They're my shoegaze beasts.
His stuff is so good, man. It is so good. I got to hang out with him at that show in California, and he was absolutely one of the coolest dudes ever to hang out with, first of all. And he, because he was really willing to chat and really willing to, like, to share those things. Be like, no, this is how we do it, and this is what, you know. Yeah, it was really neat.
Weldy McWelderson says, I've run enough CNC machines to know that as soon as you walk away, then that's when things go south.
That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, and even the pickup winder, you know, because we have a CNC pickup winder and we use that for some stuff, and it's like, still, I mean, man, I can't tell you how many times I've walked away from that thing and come back to like, Carrot Top got assassinated on my desk, you know? So it ends up being, I don't want to say it ends up being a every moment thing, but it's, and even converting to that. So even taking a pickup that we make all the time and then going to a CNC machine with it. First of all, we have a specific machine that makes it to where I can actually mimic what my hand does so that they still have the right amount of scatter and stuff. So it's not, it's not like all of a sudden our pickups are made on a machine and they suck. Because I did this. The only reason I did this is because of this particular machine that could do this. And even that, the amount of work that it takes to get those right is a lot of work. It's like, I think a lot of people think too that, computer aided machines, all of a sudden it's like a copy machine, and it's just not. I mean, there's so much work. I mean, just before this, just before the live stream, actually, I was out in the garage on our fiber laser running tests because I've been wasting so much material to try to do something and I can't do it. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to run these tests and figure out, like, let me get to the bottom of this. But that's after hours at night. Oh, speaking of that, I need hockey scores, y'all. I need hockey scores. I could be watching hockey, and here I am, like, out there farting around with this stuff because it's the only time that I have to do it. So, yeah, it's all work, man. It's all time.
Chicken Waller Farm says, stop apologizing for getting nerdy. Please get nerdy.
Well, some of it is not even the getting nerdy as much as it is sometimes you get so far in the weeds that you lose. I don't know. It's like the point of the question sort of gets lost sometimes if you get so nerdy. What you want to know is, does it sound different and what effect does it have? And I could get so far
Ron
nerdy.
Grove says 3-0 Florida.
Really? Where are we at? Like, what period is it in? I guess it would be in the first period. At the end of the first period, probably.
Novotny says, I have a 2016 Mexi Strat and I can't seem to get my thumb over the fretboard, but I could years ago on a 1974 Strat. Any advice on neck shape? I really need to get that thumb over again.
Yeah, early 60s Strat necks can be kind of small. I've got one right here. And it's little.
First with 1 minute left.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I mean, that's just a neck profile thing. And, and choosing that correctly. You can measure. So the way that's measured is the nut width. Okay. And then the depth of the fretboard from the front to the back. Hey, eat your own food.
He doesn't have any.
The depth of the neck from the front to the back in thousandths of an inch at the first fret, and then is it at the 7th fret or the 12th fret that you check it again? So it'll be like 90 thousandths and then like 120 or whatever. And that'll give you your taper of your neck, and you can pretty much duplicate. Here's a fun thing to do. Let's take a caliper. Put tape on your caliper so you don't scratch your guitar. Put tape on your calipers and measure them at the first fret. I think is it the 1st and the 7th, or is it the 1st and the 12th? You guys might know this and put it in the comments. If you don't know it, go to the Warmoth website and start playing around with their neck builder and get your calipers out for your favorite guitars. And then see what those combinations are that are available. Because some combinations aren't available because of the way the machining works. Like you can only go so far, sort of. But that'll give you kind of an idea of some of the more popular profiles that are available at these various measurements. If you measure your favorite necks and then compare them to that.
Doc says 12th fret.
Is it the 12th fret? Okay. One of the other places you can do that is, God, I met him too. I forgot to tell you that. Who is it? Scott. The necks that we used to buy from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
who is that? We used to have these necks made when we were building guitars, a lot of them. We used to have these necks made, and he said he still has some of that. It's wood from the Coney Island Boardwalk. Dang it, who was that? What is the name of that company? I can't think of it. Anyway, when I was in Nashville, his name's Scott. When I was in California, he came up and talked to me, and we finally connected. I mean, I've talked to him on the phone many times. He designed a peg head for me. We bought a lot of necks from him. Why can't I think of it? Anyway, it'll come to me at some random time. Yeah.
Dimebag Coin said, "Can a person just sand a neck slimmer, or would that be bad?"
You can, but it's very iffy whether you're going to do it straight or not. There are jigs that you could make up for that. And So there are things that can be done. But again, it's a chance.
4 minutes.
This is going to bug me until I figure it out. Musicraft. Musicraft has a pretty good neck builder that you can go and check too. It's Musicraft with a K and they make fantastic necks if you ever need one. You might spend a bit, and they also were really cool because they experimented with Rich Light with me too. Mm-hmm. I sent them a bunch of Rich Light, and they made that. No, that neck on that guitar, I had Mario make in Nashville. He made that neck for me. But yeah, they were really good. That's a really cool company there.
Chicken Waller Farm said, "Dimebag, as a historical trim carpenter of over 25 years, I can honestly say you'll never get it even and consistent. There is also a huge difference between sanding and shaping."
Ooh, excellent point. Shaping is different than sanding. Yeah. Yeah, so when they shape a neck, they actually use is he like taking a bite and running?
Yeah, so you won't say anything
to
him.
They use a big bit on it's a shaper. It's like a glorified, really gnarly router that'll kill you if you use it wrong. But it's like this, and it will basically buzz off most of the wood at the same time. And then the way they used to do it, like at Fender, is they had what's called a deadhead sander, and it was this big belt sander. It was like the belt went around, and then it had a flat spot that was basically facing you. And it would be on this like dolly, then they could like basically control the radius that they were moving it. So it was a bunch of jigs so that it was repeatable. And even then it wasn't really. Like that's why you'll play some of those old vintage guitars and they won't always be quite the same, but they were doing it like this, and the sander's like that long. Like it's a belt sander with a surface on it like that long. There are other ways to do it too, but that's the thing. Even when you make a neck on a CNC machine, depending on your CNC machine, you will still have, even like on a $200,000 Haas CNC machine, you will still have little tiny steps. After this main shaping is done, you will have little tiny steps that will need to be sanded. And even if you do that wrong, because we're only talking about a few thousandths of an inch on each of those little steps, you could totally screw a neck up. It does not usually come out of the machine ready to play. Usually there's another hour of sanding that needs to be done before it's the final shape.
Ron Grove says, "Watching hockey and listening to Dylan. It's a good Thursday evening."
Hey man, that's awesome.
is responding to Dimebag Coins. He said, you also run the risk of sanding through to the truss rod channel if you don't know the exact depth it resides at.
Yep. And on less expensive guitars, that could be all over the place.
That's wild.
Yeah, because, this is one of those things that people just don't think about. So, like, with import guitars and, guitars that are basically made under contract, that's what you got to think about. So, all this Indonesian stuff, all the Chinese stuff is all made under contract. So it's basically Fender calls them up, says, hey, this is what we want to build. And they say, how many you want and what color is each of them. And that's it. It's basically a contract. They're basically ghost building those guitars. It's not Fender doing it. So how thick the finish is, how all that stuff. Now, PRS is a lot more active in those quality arenas. And I do know that Fender does send people over there, and they do, because I've talked to those people, they do sort of keep an eye on it, but it's not like if you called up Matt right now at Texas Toast Guitars and said, how deep is your truss rod channel? He would tell you. He would just know. How deep is your pickup cavity route? He would just know. What bit do you use to set your initial radius on your neck shape, on your shaper? He would know. But that's what you pay for. When you pay for a more quality instrument, those consistencies, that's what you pay for. But part of it. That's part of the thing you pay for. Yeah.
All right. It's now 9:01.
9:01 is off-topic hour. So here's how this works. If you're new to the channel, you can ask a guitar question after 9 o'clock only if it's in a super chat. Otherwise, your question has to be off-topic. Cannot be about guitars. Could be about anything you want. We'll probably answer it. I've got a couple of off-topic updates to tell you here. It's pretty cool. Nothing really cool, just stuff. That's how we just get to know each other and hang out. If you are a YouTube member or a Patreon member, you can ask questions ahead of time, just like the other questions. And we do have a couple of those.
Shane. Good morning. He's in Japan, y'all.
Yep.
Lovely Leslie and dashing Dylan. Thanks for not tripping me up.
I was going to say he went back to the default.
Off topic, from a content creator's standpoint, what is something you wish YouTube would change?
Well, from this channel's standpoint, I don't really have...
It says content creator.
Yeah. I mean, I wish they would let you talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's, without getting... I do not want to get in a political conversation about this, but there are a lot of non-political things that even honestly, to be able to get information on. Like, I would love to be able to watch a YouTube video on X or Y thing, whether that be health related, whether that be whatever. I think that, yes, there are charlatans out there, and there are also people who are not qualified, but there are people who
don't have another place for their voice.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that may be. And I think they clamp down on those things a little bit. I wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they wouldn't do that. And I'm not going to get all into everybody should be on Rumble and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I have a Rumble account. That's where I put all my firearm stuff. But I don't know. I don't really. Besides that bugs me, because there's content that I would like to make that I don't want to, because I don't want to endanger this channel, because this channel is my living. This is how I make a living. Well, I mean, we make a living making pickups, but we use this to communicate that. And if something were to happen to this channel because of something I said or something I wanted to talk about that YouTube didn't like, then I would endanger my living. So I wish I didn't have to worry about that. The other thing is, I wish they were a little more helpful when you had issues so that you could function with less fear. Knife Center lost their channel this week, right? Knife Center is one of the biggest knife companies or knife retailers in the country. And somebody hacked their thing and started live streaming AI generated whatever. And YouTube shut their channel down. And, they had 450,000 subscribers. They're probably big enough that YouTube actually listened to them but if that happened to me, I don't know what would happen. So I wish there was a little more access to help when you needed it. I have needed it in the past, not anything like that, and just didn't get it, so I just had to figure it out. But other than that, I mean, I don't complain a whole lot because I'm just grateful to have this because it's been such a good thing for us. And it's been, I got to meet all of you, and we've gotten to build. We support our family with, and I've said this for a long time. Even when we had 20,000 subscribers, I'm like, I'm supporting my family with this. Like, I am so grateful for it. So I don't really complain about that much.
Then we had Garner, off topic. To you, Leslie, and your kids or whomever wishes to answer. What is the longest you have ever been under the tattoo gun? I just spent 7.5 hours and still have about 3 hours to go. Mine is not very long at all. I feel like Brianna would be best for this question, but also the person y'all see now is ridiculously fast when it would take hours and hours for somebody else to do the same work.
Yeah, she had a guy doing something for her, and she was there for 5 hours, and I'm like, man, my guy would be done in 2.5. What the heck? I think the longest I've ever been is probably 3 or 4, maybe. My motorcycle on my calf took 3.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very detailed.
It's very, very detailed.
Yeah. I thought don't say your dragon took a long time because it doesn't count if you're on a roof drinking beer in a blackout.
Yeah, because we got halfway through this one and the power went out. Yeah.
I don't think any of mine have
This one was probably 3 hours. But this was probably also talking and hanging out and whatever else because we're friends.
Yeah, I don't know that actually took that long because we were shopping.
Oh, yeah, you dropped me off for that. Yeah, I don't know. Probably
that's where the left story came from.
Left? I would say probably 3 hours. That's my longest. Yeah. And you haven't been that long.
No.
All your stuff's pretty small, though.
My foot probably took the longest, but I don't remember.
It felt like forever.
I just blocked that out. I don't even remember how long that was. The recovery was the worst on that one.
Yeah, because it swole up so bad.
Yep. What did you get though, Garner? That's a lot of hours.
7.5 hours. Yeah, that's
with 3 to go. Sounds like a big one. Dimebag Coin says, "Is a drummer a musician?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Ibji says, "Is a singer a musician?"
Yeah.
Dimebag Coin says, "As a singer, I feel that I am a performer, but not a musician. I am very thankful for my musicians, but they like my singing."
I don't know. I disagree. I think you're selling yourself short. I think you have to know what's going on with the musical part in order to be good. So, yeah, you might be applying it differently, but I think it's still the same.
Garner said he's doing a full forearm sleeve, and you'll see it in the Patreon meet. LOL.
Oh, nice.
Wait, when is that? Are you doing that Monday? It's a holiday. 3-day weekend for me. I don't know what you're doing, but mail's not running Monday, by the way.
Yeah, we probably will do it Monday. Is it? Yeah, because it's the last Monday of the month, right?
Mm-hmm. It has to be. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, Indy 500 this weekend.
Finally, you've been looking.
I've been looking
Every time you're like, it's this weekend.
It's this weekend. No,
not.
it's not.
They've been teasing you for weeks.
Yep.
Matthew Altamir, Dylan, do or did you work on your own cars? I've got a big project this weekend and also have a bad back, so not looking forward to the holiday weekend.
Yep. I used to do it all. I don't do any of it now. None.
Dimebag Coin says, haven't you got a Cars channel too?
No, we were going to, but
We had a oh wait, what do you call those things? What do you call the little thing? The little car, remote control car thing.
oh, RC cars. Yeah, I had an
RC
Instagram for that, and we had it ended up being it was funny. It was like another hobby that was just going to turn into a whole bunch of time and money and space, and I was just like, I don't want to. I would still love to have a couple more, but
I mean, it was fun when we were traveling, but you don't have the. I mean, where are you going to go here?
Yeah,
it's going to jump off the deck, like.
Yeah. No, and yeah, it was fun because we were in different and new places, and I would go find places.
Yeah.
And yeah. So when we were in RV parks and all different places, exploring in national parks and stuff, running my RC car up on Pikes Peak and like all kind of places like that. That was fun because I have a crawler. So yeah, I mean that was neat, but I think the fountain pen and pocket knife thing, I mean,
I guess we did have a car thing for a while, and then we just couldn't.
It
didn't come together.
It didn't come together right, and I didn't have there was a disconnect between the vision and the execution of it that I just could never really connect, which is weird because that doesn't happen to me very often, especially about something that I love so much. And maybe that's why. I think
you had super high expectations.
That, and if I have an opportunity to drive a car that I don't normally get to drive, that is going to be fun, the last thing I want to do is be shooting a video and making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Because for those of you that don't know, I love nothing more than some sort of performance driving situation. I cannot tell you how much I love that. So to turn that into a job is just, I mean, I did it with motorcycle stuff, but that was different because I could separate that. But to be like, okay, you get this car for 2 hours, because that's what would happen is, okay, you get this car for 2 hours. I just want to go drive it. I wouldn't want to spend that time trying to put together a video.
Weldy McWelderson said, I just bought a whole whack. Is that a measurement? A whole whack of RC monster trucks. LOL. It is expensive and time consuming. It fills my dirt biking void now.
No, I get that. Yeah. I think shooting does that for me. I think it's the concentration of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm going to go tomorrow actually. And it's when I go to the range and like the range, like I'm standing there and it's this wide. It's literal blinders, right? Like it's literal blinders and it's just a target. And I don't know. It's mentally like so relaxing. I don't think about anything else. I don't stress about anything else. And it's all about honing that one skill. And I absolutely love it. And there is no association with anybody else as far as like any kind of competition, any kind of anything. It's me being better than me. And that is my favorite kind of competition. I'm a extremely competitive person with me, not with anybody else. I do not compete with anybody else. I don't compete with anybody in business, on YouTube, anywhere. I don't compete with anybody except for me. And shooting is the thing that I just completely get lost in that. I absolutely love it.
Ibji says, ever drive a dragster, Formula One, fastest speed ever gotten on a track?
The fastest. So I have been to Bonneville South Flats. I've been to,
Yeah, as soon as he said track, I was like, I feel like most of your stuff is not track.
Yeah, no. The fastest I've ever been in a vehicle is on a sport bike, actually. And I've probably, I don't know, almost 200 miles an hour.
That sounds smart.
I mean, that's what they do. But I've done a lot of things. I've driven a lot of things. My favorite thing is off-road. My favorite thing is driving in the dirt, going fast. Well, I take that back. I don't like in a car. I don't really like high speed stuff. So my favorite place in the world to drive is the Tail of the Dragon. Because you're not going faster than 45 miles an hour the entire time, but you're still just ripping your tires off the entire time.
Still get car sick.
And I mean, it's so fun. That's my favorite thing. Like just really concentrating on corner entry and corner exit and apex. That's my favorite thing. So I would track drive too, but I also don't really care about going hundreds of miles an hour. I have drag raced a lot. When I was younger, on a track. I wasn't really street racer. Never really did the street racing thing.
Well, that's good. It's kind of illegal.
Yeah. No, that was never. I mean, a lot of people do it, but I've never really been into that. And then I've gone really fast in the dirt. Really fast in the dirt. I've done 100 miles an hour on a dirt bike in Mexico on the beach. Like, that's wicked fun. So. Yep.
Pretty quiet now. Matthew Altamir says 170 at VIR. I don't know what that is. But.
Oh, VIR, yeah. Yeah, I want to say I was doing like 182 or something. I had a R1LE, Yamaha R1LE at that time. I had all the Yamahas at that time, all of them. I had an R6, 2 R1s, bunch of dirt bikes. I had all the Yamaha stuff at that time.
Dog Dr. Tim said, I loved running the Dragon on my Guzzi V11 Le Mans. Way cool.
Wow, that's a neat bike, man. It's funny. I've looked at Moto Guzzis so many times. We've been all over the country, and every time we be somewhere where there's a Moto Guzzi dealer, I've always gone in and been like, even a V7 just to ride around town would be so cool. They're such a neat motorcycle, and I've never pulled the trigger on it. And they're not even that expensive, really, but they're just an interesting motorcycle.
Jeffrey Hall said the Tail of the Dragon is in his backyard.
Oh, nice.
Dylan would be worthless.
Yep.
Like, I'm going on a drive.
I would have to buy tires a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to buy tires a lot.
You'd always have cool pictures, though, because that dude's always there.
Yeah. Yep. When we had our last Audi, I said we should go up there and take it up there, and we never did. And now we've got this one, and I'm like, we should go up there. If we end up
low.
with an RS3, we are going up there.
You might have to leave me at the shop. Like, come back and get me.
Yeah. I don't know when that is supposed to happen, but anyway. What time is it?
9:20. So quiet though. Maybe
Yeah.
everybody's watching hockey.
Well, it's okay. That's what I want to do.
All right. Well, let's do it.
All right.
I mean, you do it because I don't care about hockey.
No, it's awesome. Unless we got a question come in the last minute.
Chicken Waller Farm said, I've never gone really fast. I've gone really high though. Used to fly with a buddy in his ultralight. Middle of summer, we went high enough that it was hard to breathe and had to wear insulated coveralls.
No.
Doc
Nope.
Ryder Tim said, is Killboy still clicking pics on the dragon?
Yes. Yes, he is. Yep. In fact, I saw some from there last week, actually. Yep. Well, cool, y'all. We're going to jet. I'm going to go watch some hockey. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday. I got a video coming, so